You're brand new to the game of real estate, you're a brand new green investor, and you want to crush it out the gate on your very first deal. My name's Kris Krohn. I've done over 3,000 deals, and today I want to share with you how you can crush it and make over $500 a month of cash flow on your very first deal. So you're feeling ready, right? You're gonna jump in the game of real estate, you're gonna buy a house, and you're thinking, if I could have an extra $500 a month on just my first house, it would make such a big difference in my life. It would help me to get out of debt, or maybe, take care of that supplemental income that I was looking for, or just have a little bit more freedom, a little bit more breathing room, right? So here's what you're probably thinking. All right, what I need to do is buy a house and rent it out, because that's what people do to get a cash flow. Here's what's gonna happen. Let's say that you purchase entry level. This is a home that you can purchase for $150,000. And let's say that ends up producing a mortgage of $1,000 a month, just based on what the interest rates are at that point. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna buy this house, but I'm gonna have this monthly debt, this liability of $1,000. So you're thinking, okay, I bought this house and now I'm going to rent it. And when you rent it, you did your research and you found out, shoot, I can actually only rent this for $1,200 a month. I didn't get my $500 a month cash flow. Right now, I gotta pay $1,000 there. I only collect $1,200. Guess what that delta is? It means that my cash flow is $200 a month, but not really. You see, you're doing a rental, and that person is going to call you up and say, the sink broke, the faucet isn't working, the valve is sticky, the toilet won't flush, the front door squeaks. And depending on what kind of tenant you get in there, you're gonna have to start going on over and fixing this and fixing that. And you're thinking, dude, I can't afford property management company. They're gonna charge 10% of what they collect. That's gonna wipe out almost all my cash flow. I'm gonna do it myself. So now you're kind of nervous that you're only making $200 a month. Now you're nervous that you have to do the work yourself. When you take those calls, trying to find time in between work or college and life or family, and so you're taking your very little bit of precious time you got and you're driving all the way out there. You don't have to do that too many times before it's like, shoot, well, I'm glad I fixed it. Someone would have charged me $300, but there was $80 in parts. This isn't gonna be $200 a month. This might actually turn into $100 a month on average. So you're in a pickle. You thought you were gonna be the hero. You're gonna do this first deal. You were gonna get this breathing room, and all you really got was a part-time job that comes calling when you least expect it, and only to make $100 a month. Can you just feel the stress of that? That's what normal investors do, which is why I'm glad you are watching this channel and learning from Uncle Kris that's done 3,000 deals to help make sure that you don't freaking screw yourself up like that, because you're smart and you're a subscriber, right? And you're watching these videos every single day. So every day, 10 minutes of videos of Kris gets you 10,000% smarter in the game of real estate. Let's get smart and find a solution. You might actually be in a situation like this right now and say, Kris, I need the doctor. Call the doctor. Doctor is here. Let's fix this situation, okay? So let's give you an alternative to this situation. The alternative that I'm going to give you, it is a powerful hybrid strategy. It's called compassionate financing. It's a strategy that it's like a lease option with a twist. I wrote about it in my first of 4 books that I've written and published. I'm a best-selling author, and that book I've sold more of than any others. And it's all about what I'm going to share with you right now. So here's what the doctor is subscribing. It's called a lease option. And what you're going to do is you're not gonna put a renter in this house, because first of all, it's gonna cost you $100, and you can avoid that because a lease option is gonna do some things for you. Number one, instead of putting a tenant in there that has no interest in really taking care of the house, what? They put down a small security deposit that they'll lose if they stain the carpet. Boo-hoo, they don't really care that much. Instead, you put someone in the home that says, I'll take care of this home as if it's mine. And you're like, oh, that's great, because that's the way I feel about this house. I'm so glad to find someone that'll do that. And for that to happen, they got to give you a down payment. On average, it's $5,000. That's called commitment right there. All of a sudden you're like, hey, I got $5,000 more in the bank. That's freaking way better than a tenant with a first month's rent, which I don't get to keep any of. That just goes to a month of rent, and a security deposit I got to give back unless I have to repair the place. Number two, they're not going to pay a normal rent. They're going to pay a high rent. On average, with a $5,000 down payment, they're going to pay $300 more a month. So by the way, This $200 cash flow just turned into what? A $500 a month cash flow. $500 a month plus no repairs. Now I want you to think about that. When something breaks, when the door squeaks, when the toilet doesn't work, when a valve gets broken, guess who they're calling? Not you. Because they're the future what? Homeowner. They have to start acting like it. It's all locked and loaded in the contract. And you know what? They want to. They're now taking pride of ownership. They're not a renter. They're in a total different frame of mind. You now got your goal of collecting $1,500 a month, having a $1,000 payment. You're making $500 a month. You don't have the repairs. It's not a part-time job anymore. And you're enthusiastic and already saying, wow, we did it. How can I get another one? Friends, true story. This is how it went down for me when I got started in the game of real estate. I did my very first house, but I lived in that house. So when I bought my first house, I could have rented it out and I would have probably had about a $200 a month cash flow. And I would have had to put on the hat called, I'm a property manager. But instead, I took my mentor's advice. I put signs in the yard that said, rent to own, no bank qualifying. And I started having people on that busy road driving by, calling me up. And someone moved in, they gave me several $1,000s as a down payment, and then they had a payment. I was making $600 a month on that. And here's the best part. When my wife actually was basically making all the payments because she was in charge of the money, she called me in one day a little bit nervous and excited. I said, what's up? She says, Kris, I've been paying the mortgage on this house, but there's $600 left over every month. And I said, well, you should have figured that out months ago because this is like our 4th month of owning it. She's like, I know. It's like $1,800 left over in just the first 3 months. And when they pay their next payment, it's going to be another $600. Plus they gave us several $1,000s. Like, we're up with all this money. Like, what do we do? And I said, I don't know. What do you think we should do? She said, I think we should buy more. Okay. That was ecstasy to a husband who is married to a skeptic that all of a sudden warmed up to the fact that this is working. Friends, you need your first house to be a home run. You need to win. Because if you do it poorly, you might be out for the rest of your life. And if you win, then you could go in an entirely different direction. Because I was winning, I said, how do I do this 100 times? How do I do this 1,000 times? And that's the journey that I'm on. This is working. I've got an automated system and it's freaking rocking. Don't go it alone. My mentors made the difference. And if you're new to the game and you're like, Kris, I want to crush that $500 a month. I just have Mitch here in my community that got started. He's in Louisiana. He just closed on his 3rd property. He's averaging $700 of cash flow on every one of those homes. And now he lined up a partner that'll help him buy his next half a dozen. It's absolutely incredible. It's amazing. And it works. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, geez, I could use a mentor and I'd love for someone to walk me through this and I need help with the paperwork and making sure I do it the right way. And I've lined all of it up for you. Maybe. I don't work with negative people. I don't work with crotchety people. I don't work with whiners. I work with serious committed action takers. That's what I am. And that's the tribe that I'm building. And so these videos, you're watching it. What did I charge you? Nothing. It's free. It's me helping as many people as possible. But you might be one of those that could be perfect for my community. Click the link in the description below. Ask to talk to a member of my team and let them take you through a qualification process. Learn what it is to join my club. Learn what it is to be on the inside. Learn what it is to have all the tools and resources. And together, let's go out there and win in this game of real estate now.